Following video is sponsored by Eufy Security. Eufy's got a new solar security camera, and this model here is called the S3 Pro. So its camera shoots up to 4K resolution, and it does have their max color vision. So this is making nighttime footage basically as clear as day, with color very bright. It's got dual motion detection, so it's using both passive infrared and radar to cut down on any false alerts. It's 99% accurate, and the larger new solar panel that this has with 1 hour sunlight will give us enough runtime to last a day. And the battery capacity is 13,000 milliamp hours, and it can go for 365 days. So you can even use it in areas that don't get a lot of sunlight. I'll be running through the application. I'll of course show you some sample footage, a little bit on the setup, and my thoughts of using the Eufy S3 Pro. So this is what is included. We have both of our S3 Pro cameras. We have the Homebase S380 that those cameras are going to connect up to. Then we have this right here, which is the power supply for it, a LAN cable that is included, a Type A to Type C cable. We have both of the mounts here, and then the screws required for those mounts. So there they are, the screws, and we do also have this, which is some screws for the hard drive, which is optional to install into that Homebase, and finally some positioning stickers for the mount there, so you can line that up perfectly. This is our Homebase S380, so we have a status LED here at the front. Down at the bottom there is a speaker for rubber feet. We have these ports here, so we've got two USB Type A's, LAN, and power in. This is to sync with those S3 Pro cameras and to turn the alarm off. Now at the top here, if you press down, this comes off, so it's just held in place there with the magnet. And this is where you can expand upon the storage and add a 2.5-inch hard drive. So you could add 1 terabyte or even up to 4 terabytes if you wanted. So we have a sensor capable of 4K, and it's a very bright lens they use, especially for a security camera. It's f1.0. That's extremely open, that aperture, very bright lens. We have the LEDs either side. There are some built-in microphones. There's a status LED too within it, and it's using both radar and passive infrared for the detection, which they claim is very accurate, 99%. So it will detect humans and not be set off by moving leaves or say a cat that would happen to say run past the camera. Now we have a speaker right here, so you can have two-way conversations because there are built-in microphones. I'll give you a sample of the audio quality from those mics, and of course what we can expect out of this for daytime footage, night footage too, with that max color vision that I talked about in the intro. It's actually very good. This is the mounting point here on the back, and our mount, which is made out of both plastic and metal. Very sturdy, good quality to that. And a much larger solar panel this time around. So this can collect up to 900 milliamp hours during the day, and that is enough to power it for the whole day and the night. So really good. Just from an hour of sunshine, that is all you're going to need with it. And it has a very large battery within this. So it's 13,000 milliamp hours, which is excellent, and that means it will go for 365 days. So for a whole year, even if you set it up in an area that is in the shade, it will still gather some charge, but then the residual battery charge you're going to have on that is still going to keep it powered on. So down here, there is a little flap, so you need to keep that over, of course, to keep this weatherproof. So it's designed to be in the sun, of course, and also be rained on is not going to be a problem as long as that is down. So that's our Type-C port there to charge it, which is recommended to charge this up fully before you go and mount it, so you start off at 100%. And the sync button here to pair this up with the Homebase station. Now there's also this that you can get, an optional extra. It's a solar panel specifically designed for these solar cameras, and its output is 3 watts. It uses the same mounting system as the solar cameras themselves. And this is handy if you're going to be placing it somewhere where that solar panel that's built into it is not going to be in the sun. Then you can position this in the sun and it will continually just keep topping it up. So I have my little assistant here, Snow, who's helping me with the Homebase S380 setup. So I've got it all plugged in at the moment. And if you wanted to upgrade the storage, because it comes with 16, it's got 16 gigabytes of storage there, but I've added another additional 256 gigabytes of storage with a 2.5-inch drive. So make sure you do that before you end up setting all of this up. So I've got LAN here I'm going to plug in, and then the power. Then we go into the eufy app and make sure we add this. Adding it in the eufy security app is very easy. You need to scan the QR code. Once you add it, then there's a firmware update, and then you simply just need to add with the application the cameras that you have. So you might have just 2 of them, or you may have the 4, and you just add those, and then they will pair up with our Homebase. And if you're wondering about the longevity of them, well, this is one of the original models here that I've had ever since it came out. I made a video on it and I mounted it, and it's been going strong. It's never been topped up, the battery. I've never had to take it down or plug it in or anything. So it's been working absolutely flawlessly, no issues at all. The only thing I can see is that the plastics have yellowed a little bit, just around the front here where it's got the LEDs either side. This plastic has now gone a little yellow there. That's about it. The rest of it seems to be absolutely fine. So long term, these are going to last. Now to find the ideal spot of where to mount the cameras. So it's pretty self-explanatory. You want a spot where you've got sunshine, that's the big one. Somewhere you can mount it high and get good visibility, and the area where you want to aim it and have the coverage and be within, of course, the Wi-Fi range. So I use some other eufy cameras and I get reasonably good coverage of all of this area around the front where I do need it. However, there's a spot which is down this side of the house where I do not have any coverage because I just haven't set any up. And my ideal position to get a coverage that is going to be on this side of the house would be right up here. So to get it nice and high and possible, I would then set it up, mount it onto the corner here, and that more or less is going to give me this here point of view. And of course you use the application with the live preview to set it up to find out where your signal strength is best and then exactly what the coverage is going to look like. But I also want to aim one of them down this side of the house, and I already have a mounting point that I've used before with some of the other cameras I've tested. So from this one here, I'm then going to point it down this side. So use that mounting sticker because that's really going to help things, because you've got those holes there already marked out. It's going to make it easy to drill that. Now you can see I already have one hole here drilled. That's just from a previous security camera that I was testing out, and it just screws off the mount. So you're left with this end part here that you're going to screw onto later, and that does make the mounting rather easy. Then once you have that screwed into place, you simply just need to slot it on and then screw it in. But our work's not quite over yet. We have to align it, and the best way to do that is to use the preview through the setup of the application eufy Security to find the correct camera angle that works best for you. And what's the alarm like? If it was set off to deter would-be thieves, it's quite loud, and I'll give you a sample of what it's like right now. All right, that was really loud. It's a good deterrent, and it will turn off after 30 seconds, and it'll send you a notification too as well that the alarm was triggered. And over to sample footage. So this is what you can expect out of the eufy S3 Pro. It's 4K, and as you see as I move about here, that the footage looks a little choppy. Yes, there's some compression, and the audio, which is the inbuilt microphones, might not always be perfectly in sync with my mouth there because I'm recording from the live preview. And that's why this is happening, but this is typical of security cameras. And being 4K, this is not bad. We get a lot of definition with this particular clip, and it's a big step up from the previous model I own. So we have the passive infrared motion detection and the radar. It's got facial detection, so it knows that I'm Chris from my face that I added to the database of the Homebase, and I can add further family members if I want. But where I think the eufy S3 Pro really does excel is its low light camera performance, which we'll take a look at now. So this has now our max color vision, and you can see the image is very clear, even though it's almost 8 p.m. here. So the sun has set some time ago, and we can still see some details on the mountains in the background. Now, I do have a couple of spotlights. Unfortunately, those ones are solar, so I can't turn them off. But there's not a lot of light around here at all. It's so much brighter than it really looks. So I'm impressed with the quality of this footage and just how bright it is with this 4K camera. Then the application, which is called Eufy Security. You can get it on Android, which I'm currently running, and iOS for your Apple users. So first glance, you can see all the cameras. Now I have a lot because I'm really happy with Eufy security cameras. I ended up buying quite a few myself, added them all around the house, and I've been really happy with their performance. They've been going, some of them, for quite a few years, and I've had 0 failures with them. They've been just working flawlessly. So you get the events here. You also get notifications. You can see them at the top. They come through if you want them. You don't have to have them. So you see them listed here, the events. And for example, this one here, let's have a look how quick it is. So it's decoded that footage. It is encrypted, but it has to decrypt it. And it did recognize me. Okay, that's because I've added under this feature here with Bionic Mind, the AI learning. So you have familiar faces. So I have my own and one of my daughters in there too as well. So you can just simply do that, add photos, or just take a photo yourself with your phone, and it then will have the AI facial recognition, which is a very handy feature, I think, to have. So going back to the devices here, you can see the live preview just by tapping, which again is very fast. It's telling me this is also streaming in 4K. Sun's just gone down behind the mountain, so it's looking a little dark, and I can hear the audio. I can hear birds chirping and whatnot because I do have that enabled. So you can also click here, go into some of the settings. I'll just show you some of the important ones here. So motion detection, a lot of options for this. You can decrease, increase sensitivity, detecting only humans, and even pets and vehicles, but that is currently a beta at the moment. You can even turn off motion detection altogether. If you wanted, you can set a heat map for the infrared and even an activity zone too as well, where you only want it to detect movements in a certain part of where it is actually looking. So again, very handy. Video settings, you can disable the watermark, which is on by default. Streaming quality right there. The night vision, you can change that over to daylight, should I say, if you wanted to do so. And power management, this is where I have a recommendation for people that get a lot of sun, like I do, is set customized recording, clip length up to 120 seconds. But when it doesn't detect anything, it will then just end the clip, which you can have with this option right here. You can select the interval. So that's handy. Otherwise, by default, it is going to be on optimized battery life, just 20 seconds. And that's how, with an hour of sunlight, it's going to last all day because it's recording 20-second clips there. So that sample footage I think looks excellent. For nighttime footage, it's very bright, it's very clear, and yes, it almost looks like daytime footage, or that it wasn't taken late at night. The daytime footage too looks very good, 4K resolution. It's great to have, a big step up from the 2K I have with the older model that I'm running here at the front of my house, and I'll probably be using one of these to upgrade that. And speaking of which, that I mentioned in the video, I know, but I have not had to top up that other one, so I'm adamant. I know that this model here is not going to ever need a top up because I've got a lot of sun here too as well, which really does help. So this you can use in the shade if you want. The battery's going to go for 365 days, but you can get yourself a solar panel, the optional one, which is 3 watts, plug that in and put it in the sun, and then put this in the shade, and it will be then powered, and you won't have to worry about it ever topping up or needing to be topped up. Now, the application too, very good to use. Notifications are good. You have the option of adding people's faces. So it's got the Bionic Mind, the AI face detection, works really well. And I find that to be handy, and it's a very straightforward app. So all up, I'll be continuing to use these eufy security cameras around my house. I think they're excellent, and this is a great upgrade over the previous models. So thank you so much for watching my hands-on sample footage and thoughts on this eufy Cam S3 Pro.